Hey there, this is Chris with Patch. I'm sitting here with Marietta City Councilman Bill Farnsworth. We're just going to go over this week's agenda. You mind if I get a peek at that?
Sure.
Right. So you do these every 2 weeks, correct?
Yes, every month, 2 weeks.
Okay. So I guess the best way to do this is just to go through this item by item. Where do we start?
Well, usually the meeting starts out, our council president, Miss Vessels, calls the meeting to order.
Right.
We have a public hearing if someone wants any comments from the public.
Was there any of that this week?
No.
Okay.
And also, people will write letters occasionally, from time to time, to Miss Starkey, our council clerk. And people have an opportunity to have their letter read. And we usually begin the meeting with a roll call, and then the Pledge of Allegiance, and then there's a call on officials, the mayor. And our mayor announced that there's a possibility public buildings will open up May 17th. And the Aquatic Center will have a grand opening, I believe, on the 29th of May.
Right, right.
Which is kind of a big thing that starts. We didn't have the Aquatic Center open last year.
Yeah.
So.
Everyone's looking forward to it.
Yes, yes. And they've done quite a bit of work out there. They've kind of updated things and also have repaired things at the Aquatic Center.
Right.
So that'll be nice for people.
So I kind of gave this a cursory glance, and I figured it'd be better just to have you explain what we're looking at here. So with this Ordinance 199,
okay,
what is this?
That's to vacate a portion of an unnamed alley it's called Gracie and Kaiser subdivision, and then they give the identification that would be found in the plat book at the Washington County Auditor's Office. And I think that vacating the alley allows someone to take possession of the alley and perhaps build or whatever. And that has to be done by city ordinance.
Okay. So was that passed?
Yes. Yes. After there was an amendment to add someone's consent to the exhibit, and that means that it sounds like they agreed with that ordinance. Cool. And then our streets counselor, chair of the streets and walks committee, Miss Boyer, introduced that legislative action earlier, and then it was passed, the ordinance. We're an ordinance city, which differs from a charter city.
Okay.
A charter city already has permission to do things, and as an ordinance city or a legislative city, that's the way I like to look at it. We do everything by legislation.
Okay.
Finances, purchases, things like that.
All right. Cool. So what's this Ordinance 203?
Okay, 203 is about sidewalk replacement, lighting, monument restorations, and of course ADA is for people with disabilities along Front and Washington. And we have a museum district in the East Muskingum Park, which is right along the Muskingum River. And then that was introduced. And here we have
So this was just introduced, it wasn't passed?
It actually, I think it was passed.
It was passed, okay.
Yes.
So what does that mean for the city?
Well, that means that the city has permission to expend funds and to see that work is done.
Okay.
And
so they're going to get started on the ball rolling on that project?
Yes, yes. And then we had another ordinance which was passed, was that a certain part to advertise for bids to sell the property at 205 Cedar Street here in Marietta.
Okay. And why are we trying to sell that?
I believe it was a blighted property. and there could be people interested in purchasing that.
Okay, they'd probably have to demolish it then, possibly.
Demolish it. There certainly will, my understanding, be some no, I don't want to say restrictions, but some things that people have to do if they purchase that. And we want to get back the money, that's part of it, that we have invested in it. So,
Okay.
and then we had second readings of literature.
Okay. So just for people who might not know, what is this first, second, third reading?
Okay, that's kind of like the process. That allows, some things are emergency, and we will move as counselors to waive the readings if it's something that has to be done right away.
Okay.
For example, something having to do with the health and welfare of the citizens or employees or people at large. So emergency legislation, this is the process that we have readings. This allows people to come to the meeting to comment. It allows us to learn more while the process is going on, so we don't rush into something.
Gotcha. Okay, but sometimes you guys skip that. You just
Yes.
declare it an emergency, and everyone's on board, and you just move full steam ahead.
Yes, we had some literature had to do with installing filters in the air conditioning and furnace system of some city buildings, and these filters would reduce virus spread. So we wanted to do that by emergency.
Yeah.
Because the public enters those buildings, the employees. So that's an emergency.
I gotcha.
Health, safety, welfare.
I gotcha. Okay, so these are things that are not an emergency, but you're just getting it. So
Yes.
So we have the readings of this first
Okay,
one.
this one we did on an emergency basis
Okay.
because these have to do with the salary step schedule for
Okay.
the employees, non-union and non-elected positions.
Okay. And
People
so
that
is that a
work.
raise?
Yes, it can be.
Okay.
They call it an increased salary, a raise.
Okay.
And then we did, this has to do with
Ordinance
how
number
we,
217.
217 has to do where we deposit our money.
Okay.
All the money that comes into the city, so we want to get the best deal we can.
Yeah.
While we, what I call store money.
Yeah.
Or deposit money.
Yeah.
So that is something that's important. And then we have a resolution, which is the same as an ordinance, but it isn't a law. But this resolution has to do with an Eagle Scout project of William Yontel. And he's a member of Boy Scouts. It's Eagle Star, and he wants to do some work along with family and friends at Gold Star Park, which is up on Harmar Hill. And so that just got this will be, the next one is a third reading. It's not an emergency. That allows him time to gather his resources.
Is there any way, do you have contact information that I can get a hold of this Eagle Scout candidate? Maybe to chat with him?
I think you can get this information through Mr. Wetz.
Who's that?
Mr. Wetz. He's the Safety Service Director.
Ah, okay.
I have it, but I don't have it with me.
That's fine.
It'd take me a little while to find it. But he's a student at the Washington County Career Center.
Oh, okay. All right.
And then the next item, we have, this is where our council clerk presents petitions or communications. These are the letters that people write to board or present a petition.
Were there any this week?
No,
Okay.
none this week. Occasionally we have one, but it's very important because this gives us a pulse of what's going on in the town or the community.
Absolutely.
People think things that people think are important, and that could be traffic concerns, crosswalk safety.
And this is their opportunity to present it to City Council.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Or an opinion or something, and they would write, or contact, they can do that by email, I believe.
Okay.
Or Jennifer Starkey, our council clerk.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
So that's an important thing. Then we have committee reports. Every council person, save the council president, is the chairperson of a committee. And at this time, we report things that are going on our committees, if there's anything important going on. And then we also, at this time, set our meetings, because we do a lot of work in committee.
Okay.
And this is the time that we set those meetings.
So you just set the meetings, but nothing happened. There was nothing.
Well, we set some meetings. For example, we have a couple public lands and buildings meetings coming up, not this week, but the following week, about things. And then I think I saw one on here, water, sewers, and sanitation. Mr. McCauley always has work. We're always working with our, we're going to have a new water system someday. We're working on that.
Right.
And there are always upgrades and reports with water and sewer.
Sure, I bet.
Because it's a vital resource.
Yeah.
So that's things that we talk about. We also have work ongoing with our streets, because the city street department, our engineering department are always hard at work maintaining the streets. And in the winter, of course, they have the snow plow, ice removal, those sort of things. So
Right.
those things are always ongoing. You can almost look at the city as an organism, because it's always growing, expanding, contracting. You know, a lot of things always going on. It's like it's a living organism.
Right. Yeah.
And sometimes you could almost see it as an orchestra. And we're all busy playing our instruments, and our city council president is the maestro, leading us. Our mayor is in there leading us, and the city administrative staff.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So that's how we work together. Hopefully, always in harmony.
Hopefully.
So,
all right, cool. So what do we got next?
Okay, next, this is something we don't get a lot of. There are special city committees, and we have a tree commission that meets the first Tuesday of every month at 4:15 at the Armory in our public meeting room. And the city tree commission is always counting, keeping an eye on the health of our trees. We're a Tree City USA, which is very important. That's kind of I can't say in our city, but in some places, there are historic trees that are over 150 years old, and those are carefully watched. We do that in our city too.
Okay.
Always keeping an eye on our
Tree
trees.
City USA?
Yes.
All right.
And that's kind of a status thing to be a Tree City USA.
Okay, yeah, I never heard of it.
Yeah, our tree commission maintains an inventory of all trees.
Really?
Yeah, so you could call some of our tree commission members, Mr. Morrison. Mr. Ken Morrison is the chairperson of that committee, and he and the committee keep track in this inventory not only what trees are where, because they counted all of these trees, they know the health of many of the trees, so we try to maintain that.
Right, absolutely.
So we know, because they're a valuable asset to the community. And they're living organisms.
Yes, absolutely.
And they get diseases, lightning strikes, infestation of insects, and they actually get sick.
Right.
Like people almost. They get illnesses.
It's crazy.
So we keep track of the trees.
Well,
the
that's
tree
cool.
commission. They do a fantastic job. They're a very energetic committee.
Yeah, I definitely should talk to them. It's great.
Yes, that would be good. And those people are all volunteers, and they all really do a great job.
Okay.
Sometimes they go out and trim trees, you know, small jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But the city does maintain a budget taking care of our trees.
Right. Right on. Okay, so what do we got? New ordinances and resolutions?
Okay, yes. And this is all business that's been introduced. This all came out on May the 6th. Some new things.
Okay. We do have some new things.
Yes, I'm making a find this. This is our calendar. It's on this page.
There we go.
Okay. First readings.
Oh, wow.
Everything starts with the first reading, and this reading that's done by our council clerk, and some of the reading is really lengthy.
Sure,
This
I see
is
that.
just an abbreviation. Some of it is several
So
pages.
these are just first readings. So
Yes.
first of all, let's just go through these kind of quickly.
Okay.
But so nothing was passed; they were just read. So we have an ordinance to appropriate funds. 219. Was this? What is this about? Is this important, or is this routine?
Well, back to the city being what we call a legislative or a law-based or an ordinance-based city,
Mhm.
to appropriate, to put money into a project, or to transfer funds. Our system, which Ms. Hess she's our city auditor,
Okay.
and she handles all these accounts. For example, there's an account for cemetery funds,
Mhm.
because we have cemeteries. The city actually owns cemeteries.
Right.
So they have to have funds to mow and maintain the cemeteries. There's a storm, they use that money to clean up after a windstorm where branches came down,
Right.
that sort of thing. And if one of the funds, say the cemetery fund, runs low, we need and try to shift money to that fund. And that helps us to keep track. Bill Dauber is one of our finance people, and he's a longtime city employee, and he helps to track all that money. So if we have to shift money, we have to do that by ordinance. If an account, say, runs low, or if an account has too much money, we sometimes take money from that account and put it somewhere else.
I see. Okay, so what was this action?
Well, that was to appropriate or transfer funds within the city in one of those accounts.
Okay. So was it for do you know if it's for the cemetery offhand, or?
No,
Okay.
it would just be, it could be, I think we had one thing, I'm looking here, that we had to purchase a machine, a device to put the stripes in the road.
Okay.
In the center of the road, because the machine was like 20 years old, and it could no longer be repaired. City employees had been, they call it jury rigging.
Right.
Like wiring things,
Yes.
use of duct tape, that sort of thing that we do at home
I see.
to maintain that.
I follow you. So ordinance 220. What's this?
Okay, in the city in the past, we've worked on a property maintenance code. I can tell you who's on the committee. Mr. Gossett and Mr. Schinkel have worked, and I believe Miss Boyer, I'm not sure if she's a member of that committee offhand, but we're going to have a property maintenance code here in Marietta. So let's say the stairs to somebody's house are broken and falling down,
Mm-hmm.
then our city property maintenance person will go out and ask, they'll say, we're notifying you have 2 weeks or
Mhm.
whatever to repair this. And then they will follow up with an inspection. And if that doesn't happen, they could be issued a citation or a ticket to
Mhm.
repair that. And then they get a certain amount of time to be able to do that.
Okay. So what does this mean for the people of Marietta?
It could mean ultimately accountability and responsibility for maintaining their property,
Okay. Oh, okay.
their home property.
Gotcha. So people could be ticketed if they left a trash can out all week or something.
Well, I don't know if I'm not sure exactly because the code,
Oh, right,
the
not exactly,
international
but
property
that's the
code is
idea.
so big, but I just use the example of saying broken steps or falling down steps.
Okay.
Steps where someone could
So you
fall
got to keep your
down.
property nice, or else.
Yes, I wouldn't use the word nice, but maintain for safety.
Okay.
That would be the gist of it.
Okay. I see. Yeah.
So, and then we have another one here. These are changes to the Marietta wastewater treatment plant, and that's over behind the shopping center out on Pike Street. There's a couple restaurants out there, and I believe a grocery store, and behind that, if you drive back on that lane, you can see our wastewater treatment plant. And this is one of the things, a change order in a contract that's made between the city of Marietta and Ohio and Kirk Brothers. The
Okay.
Kirk Brothers Incorporated to make a change in an upgrade.
Okay.
And that was passed by emergency.
So, and the first one was too, I see, emergency.
Yes,
So that was passed, right?
yes.
Okay.
These were all passed. All of these ordinances were passed. The next one was to have a lift, a hydraulic lift over by the People's Theater
Yeah.
on the Hippodrome Colony Historical Theater
Yeah.
on 3rd Street. And this will enable people with disabilities to enter into the Hippodrome, and also equipment and things that are
Right.
heavy. You know, they actually used to have elephants in there on their stage many, many years ago.
Really?
Yes,
That's
I've never
crazy.
seen it, but I went to a presentation.
Wow.
So, I mean, it was really a big thing.
So there is going to be what does that say? A lift?
Yes. It's a
kind of
hydraulic lift. And then this gives this nonprofit the authorization to do that, and they wouldn't hold the city accountable if there was any liability. Say if the lift collapsed, that holds the city free of liability.
Right.
They're responsible for the maintenance of that and safety concerns.
I see. Okay. And so we have Ordinance 223.
ADA curb ramps, those have been going on several years.
Mhm.
The asphalt paving resurfacing is an ongoing project in the warm months, and will come to some intersections where the ramp is either too steep, or there is no ramp. But more often it's the fact that the ramp is too steep or broken or something. That allows people with disabilities to be able to travel through Marietta.
Okay.
So that's an ongoing program where I'd say in all the warm months we're going to do that. And here is a pedestrian improvement project in the
224.
city of Marietta.
Okay.
This will be by Marietta College.
Okay.
And Butler Street goes through Marietta College.
Right.
And some people feel, and it could be considered kind of a dangerous place
Okay.
because of the incline.
Yeah.
And this project will we hope, make this safer,
Okay.
because there'll be more markings on the sidewalk and signs reminding people that pedestrians cross there.
Oh, I see. In signal timing. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Very cool. So that was passed. That means you guys are getting the ball rolling on that project.
Yes, and
Okay.
then the next thing is for us to accept a loan agreement from the Ohio Water Loan Program
Okay.
for our water treatment plant, an upgrade. We're going to do this. Now that is up behind Marietta Memorial Hospital. There's a hill.
Right.
There's a lane. If you
Mhm.
go up there, you can see our water treatment plant.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's our future project that we're working on, we're watching and monitoring, because in some cases, things like wood, the prices are going up, steel prices are going up, so we're keeping an eye on that. And we're applying for a loan to be able, a low interest loan to be able to do that. And Mr. McCauley, Mr. Scales, there are a number of our council members working on this. Also, our water plant director is working on it. There's a lot of people working together to make this project. Of course, you know, water's our future.
Yeah.
When they go into outer space, you know what they're looking for? Water.
Right.
Because at least for our life, we have to have water to live.
For sure.
So, and that it's a vital resource. Water and air are food necessities that people have to have. So that's why, and that's very important. And the next thing we're working on some 226 volunteers are working, and these guys from the Zach Powell and Aaron Reynolds and a bunch of volunteers maintain and do a really good job keeping our skate park.
Oh, the skate park, right.
Yeah,
I was actually trying to find Aaron Reynolds. I can't find. Is there any way? I want to
that's
talk to
a
him
number
about that.
Mr. Wetz will
Wetz
have.
as well. Okay.
Yes. And I'll tell you, they're very articulate. Those guys do a heck of a job. Occasionally there's some graffiti out there, they clean it up. But down inside that bowl, there's a lump down there.
Mm-hmm.
Could be, those guys are always good, they're great skaters.
Mm-hmm.
But they want to take that lump out and smooth it. So, and we're going to work to provide them with some money, and they're going to do the work.
Right on. Okay.
So, and Mr. Powell has done a lot of this work. I mean, he's, I think, nationally recognized
Okay.
in skate park construction.
Oh, cool.
I think he's done work in Athens. And hit the 227, they're going to advertise for a firm to update our zoning, planning and zoning code. And Mr. Schenkel, who's the chairman of zoning and planning, is the person who has worked hard, and Ms. Boyer and Mr. Gossett have put a lot of work
Okay.
into us updating. A lot of things have happened. You know, now we have Airbnbs.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot of changes.
Right.
And especially with COVID, some people, it's changed everything. Believe you me. So we have to update our code. And so people understand, and people can also will be able to participate more in zoning activity. Okay, and then we have a tax budget. And Mr. Scales, who's the chairperson of our Finance and Taxation Committee,
Okay.
is the person that has worked on this, along with the city finance staff too. And at the very end of the meeting, this is an opportunity for each counselor, our council president, Ms. Vessels, calls on each counselor to give a report on anything that they want to, like, mention some problem they're having,
Mm-hmm.
some sort of, most likely it's usually something that people compliment the city or volunteers, or, you know, things. I know now the Harmer Bridge Company has kind of reorganized, and they're taking on some new direction. So that would be an opportunity for any individual counselor. Each counselor is called on and has an opportunity to speak to that.
Okay.
And following that, a counselor will usually move to adjourn the meeting. And it's seconded, and then it's called for a voice vote on
Okay, and so that wraps up the meeting, I
that. That
guess.
wraps up the meeting, and then our next thing we'll be working on ongoing projects, committee meetings, communications with constituents, city administration, and it kind of, in a way, it's kind of, I'd like to say a circle, kind of, communication is always ongoing.
Right, right.
Projects are always ongoing, and we get contacts from constituents, businesses, city administration about problems or concerns from people.
Okay.
And then we go right back from the committee and then back.
Do you
to
encourage
the
people to reach
council.
out to you if they have?
Yes, I listen to everything that people bring to me.
Okay, and if they have something that they want to present, they can always just reach out to Ms. Starkey, the clerk of courts, and try to
Yes.
get that read.
Yes.
And
Yes, they can call them. If people say they have a tree with a branch hanging out here on the street, after a storm, they can call the city office. That's to get the quickest help. If people have ongoing concerns about things they would like the city council to know about, city council members can be contacted. Also, a concerned citizen can contact Ms. Starkey, our clerk of council, by writing, by email, or by phone. Those are, we don't want to leave people voiceless.
Right, right, absolutely.
And we appreciate that. I do, finding out things that I didn't know, and particularly things like flooding, creeks washing out, those, all kinds of things like that. I got a call one time when the bike path, I call it a bike path, when the river trail, there were people diving off of the bridge. It's just an example. That people were jumping off the bridge and diving off the bridge into Duck Creek. And someone called and said that it's really a safety concern because there are things submerged in there, and someone jumping or diving into that. And I think that the city handled that situation, and that ended. So we didn't lose someone to get hurt,
right,
or worse. So
for sure.
And that's that communication. I think a lot of conflicts sometimes happen. The cause is communication. People don't communicate.
Right.
And sometimes we're all like that. We think that somebody else will take care of it.
Right.
I'm going to look the other way.
Yeah. Somebody else will contact city council or whatnot.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. You're welcome. If you have any questions, anything, feel free to. I'm relatively new. Living in the city, so there are always things like learning about, say, Gold Star Park. Also, Jackson Park. We have a dog area up there, which is kind of interesting. A lot of things there. We have a lot of good city parks, and the aquatic center. Those are all things that benefits to people in the city.
Absolutely.
So, and a hard-working city administration and staff. So.
Yeah, everyone seems really dedicated around here.
Oh yes, yes. People have a lot of love for their community.
That's true. That's definitely true. All right. Well, thank you so much. Thanks again.
Thank you.